In my 20 years of life, I've never stepped foot in my hometown. I would always hear stories about Ethiopia from my friends who would go every few years. They would talk about what the country is like, how their family was doing, what the state of the country was like, and how people lived. I would always imagine it, but nothing could have prepared me for this trip. As the day to our departure came closer and closer, it didn't feel like I was actually traveling. Yeah, we were packing, but my mind didn't believe it. Not until we got on that plane and took off. It was a 13-hour flight and I couldn't sleep at all. By the time we got there, I was fueled by pure adrenaline, nervousness, and awe of Ethiopia. Ethiopia was nothing like I imagined. When my sister and I met our uncles and aunts for the first time, it wasn't awkward, but it was new. But what got me was when my mom saw her brothers and sisters for the first time in nearly 30 years. She cried so much, and I've seen my mom cry before, but this was different. My sister and I didn't really know what to do because this crying was because she missed them. She couldn't believe she was back home. If I'm being honest, I think there might have been a time when my mom thought she wouldn't see them for a very, very long time. But Allah is all-knowing and all-merciful and the best of planners, and thanks to His blessing, they were able to meet again. The next 2 weeks were constant visiting family. I met so many people but got very close to a specific group of people in my family. I don't know if it's because I saw them way more than any other people in my family. Maybe it's because they had young kids that I could practice my Amharic with constantly. Or maybe it's a combination of both. But damn, do I miss them. Even writing the script has made me tear up a little. But aside from visiting family, I went to a few parks like Entoto and Andenet. The parks were very relaxing, especially with the clean air and cool breeze. But by far the best part for me was visiting family. The multiple family members I was able to talk to, even though my Amharic was trash at best and incomprehensible at worst, they made me feel confident, even though I looked like a fool. In fact, it's thanks to the kids who made me feel like I could speak Amharic, even though I knew I didn't know a lot, because I didn't feel judged. Back in the States, if I try to speak Amharic to the adults, I feel like I'm a child and they laugh a little. Not out of mockery, but it does make you feel uncomfortable. But when I was talking to my cousins, they were genuinely trying to understand what I was saying and would help me fill in the blanks. I honestly feel like Ethiopia has made me so much more extroverted and not care about what other people think or say. I wouldn't say I'm completely anew, but it's a huge step. But like all good things, they must eventually come to an end, and my 2 weeks in Ethiopia were up. My sister was asking me if I was going to cry, and I told her, I don't think so. I don't think my brain processed I was leaving just yet. But as I went to my uncle's house to say goodbye to them and to say goodbye to my cousins, it really started to feel real. As we headed back to our place so we could pray and go to the airport, my sister asked again, "You're really not gonna cry?" I shrugged, but little did she know, I cried a little on the car ride back, but immediately composed myself so no one would see. The time finally arrived and I got to the airport. My family couldn't come in with me, so I had to say goodbye outside. But once I got through everything and sat down, it all hit me. I was going back home by myself. I wasn't going to see my aunts, uncles, and cousins for at least a year. Who knows, maybe even more. I remember the tight hugs I gave. I remember how my uncle cried as I hugged goodbye in the car. I remembered how I comforted him, saying that I'll be back and for him to not worry. I remembered how my other uncle, even though he didn't cry, he was really, really sad to see me leave. I honestly think he was going to cry a little. The hug I gave him at the airport was the tightest hug I ever got from him, and it told me everything. I was really going to miss him. My mom and sister were going to stay for an extra 2 weeks because, they could. Lucky ducks, I thought. I called my mom and uncle telling them I was safe and I was at the gate ready to board. Aside from the hellish 16 hours back to the States, Ethiopia was amazing. I feel like I tapped a better version of myself. I was a lot more grateful for what I had in my life. I was more open to talking and looking foolish. I wanted to leave the house more, which, if you know me, is damn near impossible because I love my room and I don't ever want to leave. I felt so much more at ease with everything around me. InshaAllah, I come back very soon because this feeling, this happiness, this gratitude is something I want to experience so much more often. I miss them so much. I miss them every day. And I wish I could have stayed longer. But alas, Allah has different plans. But I pray that I see them soon, happy and healthy. Ameen. like that. I know it's like a blow.
ብዙ በቃ ደስተኛ አይደሉም።